let's go check and make sure things are going okay here. Hello. It is a beautiful Wednesday. Here we go. Welcome. Welcome to our meditation on this Wednesday. I don't know why I thought yesterday was today, but I realized that today is today, and I'm good with that. We're talking this week about the Torah portion Behalotecha, and okay, hi there, Chuck and Lisa. Nice to see you today. And we've been talking about the various themes that are in this Torah portion, of which there are many. Among them are my favorite things to delve into in the spiritual realm of life. And just wanted to, hello Kathy, just wanted to talk today about Lashon Hara, which is translated as the evil tongue, but all of us know it as gossip. Gossip. The seminal work on gossip in the Jewish world, hello Valerie, is brought forth by Chofetz Chaim. A rabbi lived, I believe it's the 18th to 19th century. And he wrote two volumes. You can really get 2 volumes of his work. He devoted his life to the idea of not speaking Lashon Hara and setting out the laws in Judaism on why, not just why it's so bad to do it, but the prohibitions of talking about people. And before we get to, but what about this and what about that, there were really only 4 times, according to the Chofetz Chaim and these laws, that you're allowed to be talking about anybody. One is if they're a public figure. So we can talk about any of the politicians or public figures all we want. They are a public figure, therefore you can talk about them. 2, if you're bringing quarreling parties together. So if you know that, these 2 people, something's going on between them, and you can bring them together by telling someone something about the other, that is also permissible. 3, if you told someone to stop doing something that was hurting themselves and they disregard you and they do it anyway, you're allowed to talk about that. And lastly, if it's to protect someone from losing money or being injured, you can protect them. That's the one where if you know someone's going out with someone who physically abused their partner, you can tell them that the last person that they dated they were physically abusive. Those are the only 4 times you're really supposed to talk about anybody when they're not there. If you talk about someone when they're there, it's just rude. I mean, there's no law against it. Although saying derogatory things about people, I guess, would be prohibited by Jewish law in many ways. But so why is Lashon Hara so terrible? And why is it so hard for us not to do it? And in case you're wondering, something came up on the computer when I lost my train of thought. This is why I'm shutting the computer now. I can't stand that, so I'm not going to deal with it. But the reason why it's so hard to do is because it makes us feel better when we put someone else down. I know what I was going to say earlier. This comes in the Torah portion from the Miriam complaining about Moses having a Cushite wife, and she complains to Aaron about it. And then God punishes her with a scaly skin inflection. And Moses prays for her to be better, and then she's better. But the idea that, even God punished her because she spoke poorly about somebody behind their back just goes to show how serious it is. And in Judaism's tradition, there are 3 people that are basically murdered when someone speaks Lashon Hara: the speaker, the person they're speaking to, and the one they're speaking about. That's how serious Judaism takes this. And I want you to know, it's not just positive things. Because it it all comes down to, number one, what's the intention of saying what you're saying? In other words, I could say something wonderful about somebody, and I know by saying that it's going to cause the person I'm talking to hate that person. That's a form of Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is anything you say to someone else that causes an emotional reaction from that person towards the person they're talking about in a negative way. So, I could go up to my daughter and say to her, oh, I heard your friend, who really isn't a friend, just won this award for being the best looking person in the world. And if I know that that's going to upset my daughter, why say that to her? And I think that's kind of the question that needs to be asked at the end of all of this. Why say it? If you're thinking about saying something that's dirt on someone, why say it? Does it make you feel better? You think it's going to make that person feel better? Does it make you feel like you're superior to the person because they've done this thing wrong that you're gossiping about? It's very complicated. Also, I mean, sometimes you might say something that you think is totally innocuous, and that person reacts to it in a very strange way. So in the end, it comes down to the person you're talking to. How are they going to react to what you say? Sometimes you don't even know what that is, but you do know if you don't talk about anybody else with the person you're with, then you don't run any risk of upsetting them based upon somebody else. I think it's an incredibly hard value to live by. And I know that there's many times over the years when my wife and I are talking about something, she says, well, I heard something. Do you want to know it? We think for 2 seconds and then say, you know what? No. And it could have caused tension, but it doesn't because we've both been working on it together. But I'll tell you there's something else that I think it does, is it makes you engage with the person you're with, which brings us to our mindfulness. The idea of being mindful is living every moment. The idea of being mindful is to notice what's happening to you in your life at every single moment of your life. It allows for the possibility of renewal and rebirth and growth. And it keeps us living in the now so that we are actually living and being in our bodies and in time and in space. If we're sitting there talking about somebody else, we're not living in this now. We're living, number one, when that thing happened that you're talking about, and we're living somewhere else, talking about someone else. And I just encourage us all to stay in the moment and be with the people we're with and keep it between us, as opposed to keeping it us, bringing someone else in that's actually not even there and can't defend themselves if it is something derogatory. Not to even mention the idea when we spread calumnies about someone and it's actually not true. How do you take it back? How do you get that back? You can't get it back. Once it leaves your lips, it's out there, and you don't know who other people tell. And as a matter of fact, there is a dictum that Chofetz Chaim talks about, which is, your friend has a friend. How many times has someone said to you, listen, I'm going to tell you, but don't tell anybody else, because it was a secret, right? And then you go and you go to your friend and you're like, oh my God, I got to tell you this thing. Don't tell, you're the only one I'm telling. So don't tell anybody else. And then that person has a friend and they go to that friend and they tell that friend, and that's how it gets carried from one person to the next. In addition, if you tell something in front of 3 people, you have to assume. Chofetz Chaim talks about 3 people as public. You have to assume if you've told 3 people, it's getting around. I personally believe if you tell 1 person, it's getting around, but that's my cynical self. And I just believe everyone has a friend. And I mean, there's been many times people have said to me, oh, I'm going to tell you this, but nobody knows it, and don't tell anyone. And I think to myself, I'm sure I'm not the only person that this person has told. They tell everybody they're the only one that they told, and why would I have any reason to not believe them? Even though I know it's probably not true. In addition, if you speak gossip about people, if I know that you speak gossip about people, I'm not telling you anything about myself because I know. Or shall I say, maybe I'll only tell you the things that I care that people know about me. it's a lonely existence if one gossips and people know it, because why would anyone want to tell you anything? Although the other side of it is when someone knows that someone's a gossip, usually they're the first person everybody calls to find out information and to give information. So maybe it protects us from that too if we concentrate on not doing Lashon Hara. But I think that overall, the reason why not to is because it lifts us up, elevates us spiritually. If we aren't thinking about the negatives of other people, if we're not thinking about comparisons to other people, or frankly, that we're not concentrating on the lives of others and concentrating more on our own lives, and getting through our days and dealing with the issues that we have in our lives, how can we assume that anybody's going to be perfect, right? So by passing gossip around other people, then you know that you've got foibles too, and maybe people are passing those things around about you. So, if we all just kind of kept it in, as I said yesterday, if we could just not gossip and stop complaining and treat everyone with dignity, we'd solve all the world's problems. I really do believe that. Okay, let's go to our quiet time and take all of this into our minds and bring ourselves to a place of stillness and peace so that we can deal with what we have to deal with come 6 o'clock. Get yourself in a position where you're comfortable and also strong and able to sit quietly without sleeping. And we're just concentrating on our breath, and we're just living and being. Just for now, we're allowing everything, just to be as it is. For now. As your thoughts take you away from your breath, in loving kindness, just bring yourself back. Bring yourself to your breath again. No need to judge yourself. All of us that are doing this meditation need to do this. This is what we practice, to bring ourselves back to stillness and just being. Get rid of the busy day. There's nothing you have to do right now. This is what we're doing. As we move into our last 5 minutes or so, it's Wednesday. We ask on this hump day in the middle of the week, we ask for two feelings. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. If you don't want to keep the D on the end of love, then just say, may I feel love. That's fine too, of course. However you want to change these that we're doing to suit you better, that's totally fine. May I feel luminous. May the light shine from me. Like the Sforno commentary I used last week, that Ya'er Adonai, to shine the light, is God shining the light on us so that we can see how beautiful the world is and how much gratitude we have for life. Shining the life force, perhaps, is a nice way to describe luminous. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel loved and luminous. May I feel luminous and loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous and loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. If you'd like to invite someone to be with you, someone in your mind's eye, you can offer these two blessings to them. May you feel luminous. May you feel loved. May you feel luminous. May you feel loved. May you feel luminous. And may you feel loved. Just stay there for a couple more breaths. Let's just bring it back to ourselves. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. Let's just bring ourselves back to our breath. The feeling of our stomach rising and sinking, filling and emptying with our life's breath. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you found some stillness and peace. May you feel luminous, and may you feel loved. Have a beautiful evening. See you tomorrow.